Hey everybody, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Linda.
And I'm Scott.
And welcome to another episode of VAPI Fireside Chats, where the smoke again is burning my eyes like crazy.
And
Whew.
we're talking kind of quiet because we're in a national park campsite right now.
Yeah, the Monongahela.
Monongahela. We're in
Close.
the Monongahela National Park.
Sherwood Lake.
Yes, we got to stay kind of quiet because we have the camp host not far from our location here. So we've got to be a little bit quiet.
Yeah, but we're going to ask each other some questions here about something pertaining to the paranormal. And if you have any questions, of course, that you'd like to see answered, go ahead and drop them in the comments down below because we'd love to see them. We'd love to have a chance to respond to them. So, Scott, talking about skinwalkers, the Skinwalker Ranch. Do you think there's any relation between Skinwalker and the Dogman?
Well, I saw the first episode of that Skinwalker Ranch episode, and I remember them. One of the people there at that ranch, they saw red eyes, and that seemed relevant to a dog man. And they also mentioned how they saw something like a dog man coming and trying to attack their cows, and they were shooting at it, and it just had no effect until they got a higher caliber rifle. And so I think there is kind of a relation there where the Skinwalker situation could definitely be a dog man. But their claim is that the Skinwalker can actually change into different entities. And I didn't go in further into any other episodes yet, but it looks interesting that why would a skinwalker choose to be a dog man in that situation? Perhaps to be more agile, but I'm not sure about the skinwalker situation here. So they went over some of the background, and the local two tribes were there, and they got into a rift with each other, and one of them cursed the other, and into this dogman scenario they have presently there today. And supposedly this curse has some kind of powers to use this skinwalker changing situation. So it's interesting so far. And as of right now, it really does just seem like it's just a dogman scenario. I'd probably have to watch more episodes just to see what's going on, if they have any other claims than that. But I don't know. It's with the limited, knowledge I have so far on that whole, that first season of the first episode of the first season. I would say they definitely have a dogman situation there, but I'm kind of curious to see what else they have, because there is UFOs involved in this situation up on that ridge, um, and I don't know if UFOs could be involved in being able to turn the skinwalker situation into different situations with their surgical abilities and all this different experiments that aliens seem to have on they always seem to be doing to humans and stuff. But but yeah. So I don't know. It's a good question. So I guess with the limited knowledge I have, I would just say for now I don't know. But that is a good question. I don't know if you guys have any comments that you could put at the bottom on that.
For those people that may not know, just the brief premise behind the Skinwalker, like what is it?
Okay, so the Skinwalker is basically an evil entity that has the ability to change into
Shape shifting.
shape shifting. It can change from one cryptid to a different cryptid, or turn into a human if it wants to. to do whatever diabolical purpose it wants to do, and that creates a kind of a scary ability for us to even think about. And so to have something evil or creepy having that kind of power, mystical power, that's actually scary within itself. And so that's the concept with this shapeshifter. It's not just one type of cryptid that sticks to that. It could be anything. So that also kind of opens up a lot of doors with all this other stuff we're seeing, like how Bigfoot could just vanish and be so evasive so easily. Perhaps everything is this curse, this situation with this curse. It could be narrowing down to this. Everything could be a skinwalker. All these different cryptids. I don't know. That's just a thought I just had.
Any theories to the origin of skinwalkers?
Yes. So in this particular area in Utah, there's a ridge, and the Ute Native Americans and the Navajo, uh, before the white man came to settle, they were actually friends, and then eventually when the white man came, it kind of tipped the balance of all these different scenarios into where eventually the Utes were enslaving the Navajos and had them as slaves, and the Utes actually took the side of the white men and the U.S. Um, and the U.S. Army and all that. So um, and so as a retaliation, the Navajo cursed the Utes with this cursing of skinwalkers, and somehow we don't know the details of what that curse is, but we know the final situation here is we got this scenario of a skinwalker that's haunting this ranch out in Utah and causing all kinds of different things. If somebody as so much as digs or disturbs anything out there, it it stirs up the skinwalker sightings.
By white man, do you mean Caucasian?
Yes. Yeah, if you want to be technical. So I don't know what else a white man would be. A color of white is an abstract, I suppose. So yes, the Caucasian man. Is that what you want me to say about it?
So, Jeff, along the same line of questioning, I have a question pertaining to the Skinwalker. When he talks about the ability for this thing to shapeshift, it calls to mind a scenario where demons are able to take pretty much any bodily form that they want, because demons are not able to, they don't have their own specific bodily form, right? They can take the form of anything they want in in order to carry out whatever desires or wishes that they have. What do you think about the possibility of this being a demon that these things are seeing as opposed to an actual cryptid?
Well, I think it's very possible. And demons, one of the ways they work and the ways they intervene in people's lives is through fear, striking fear in people's hearts. And there is nothing quite as scary as something that could be anything. The creature of your worst nightmares could be this skinwalker. The question I have pertaining to demons is there's not a lot about them having a physical form. A lot of times it's more so a spiritual form. I personally think that demons cause us to perceive them in certain ways. They'll put ideas in our minds. They'll put visions in our minds or whisper things in our ears that they want us to hear and that they want us to see. And we will think that we're physically seeing these things in front of us when in reality they're manifestations of our minds because of these thoughts that demons put in our minds. And they cause us to have fear. And what this fear ultimately does is it causes us to distance ourselves from God, because the only one we are supposed to fear is God. And it's not supposed to be the kind of fear as I'm afraid of God because he's scary or because something bad is going to happen to me. It's more so a fear of God because God is awesome, God is amazing, God can do anything. And the fear of God causes us to respect God and to accept his grace and to come into his kingdom. And that's what the fear of God does. But when these demons interact with our minds, they cause us to fear earthly things. Like I said, manifestations of our own mind, thoughts from the darkest corners of our subconscious. And this takes our thoughts once again to earthly things, away from things that are above. And this is a way that demons can get a foothold in our lives, because once we start to fear, it's a weakness. And it's a weakness that they can prey upon. And this fear can grow in us and manifest in us. And it can let us to put down our defenses so that they can implant more of these thoughts, feed us with more of these fears. And these fears, when we give into these fears of these earthly things and these things that are perhaps beyond the physical realm, it shows that we don't quite have the faith in God that we need to have. Because if we have faith in God, we know that he's more powerful than any of these demons and he can overcome any of these demons. Yet if we sit here in the corner of our room afraid to go out in public because these demons have isolated us, we are giving in to fear of these demons, and we are not expressing that faith in God. We're not exercising that faith in God. Basically, we don't have that faith in God. So there is a good possibility that this thing that is out there, it could be a demon. I'm not speaking bad about the Native Americans by any means, but to my understanding, a lot of the spirits that they believed in and the gods that they prayed to were not the Christian God. And if this is the case, what were they praying to? Who were they praying to? Who were they answering to? If it wasn't God, it was someone. And if this thing was a manifestation of a curse from Native Americans, this curse, as any curse, would be something from the devil. So that's a good possibility that this is the work of a demon. So, Linda, you've stated that above all else, you love pursuing the elusive Bigfoot.
Right.
If I may pose a question,
Yes.
out of all the cryptids that you know of that have been reported throughout the country and various other countries, is there one that you would not pursue because it utterly just strikes terror into your heart that you might encounter this thing, and if you did encounter this thing, you would not want to, you would not know what to do?
No. There's not a cryptid that I've encountered or that I've heard of or heard reports of that I don't think I would pursue. There's not one that I think that I would not go out and try to discover the true nature of it. And the reason I say that is because I have um, I have faith in God. I believe that my time is my time to go. Like when I'm gonna die, it's my reason to die. And I don't believe that's going to be until I'm very old age, 86 specifically. But I don't think there's anything that's going to take me out of this world. And I don't think that there's anything that could really scare me to the point of making me not pursue the answer to a question, um, to a great mystery that exists in the world, because I am such a mystery like person. I really want to know the answer to every mystery in life. And whether it's Dogman or Bigfoot or Loch Ness or even some of the other various with what do they call that thing that starts with a G? The
The gargantuan.
No, it's not gargantuan. It's a G thing It's like,
It's a G thing.
yeah, it's a G thing. I can't really think of the name of it, but it's a weird one. But it's from the Appalachians. It's one of these like big bird-like creatures and everything. But somebody may know what that is. Comment down below. But there's not too many other things that would make me really want to run and hide, except for UFOs, like aliens. And I think the reason behind that is the intelligence level of these things, the technological advancement of these things. These things have the opportunity to basically pick you up out of bed and suck you through a window up into a spacecraft and do all kinds of crazy experiments to you, right? I don't want to be impregnated by any kind of alien culture, any kind of alien species. I do not want to be experimented upon. I've seen, Travis's story where he had the needles poked in the eye. Like that kind of stuff is the stuff of my nightmares. Like that's the kind of thing that freaks me out. And aliens are one of those things you can't escape from. You can escape from Bigfoot. You can escape from any other kind of cryptid that may be out there. There's a possibility of you being able to get away from this creature. But when it comes to an alien, if they really want to take you up into their spacecraft and experiment upon you, then they're going to do that. And for that reason, I think that the aliens are probably the ones beyond anything else that probably frighten me a little bit more than anything else does. But it's still not enough to make me want to stop investigating because, I mean, really, how many times do you encounter aliens, like true aliens, not just UFOs, but true aliens in your life? Like most people go an entire lifetime never encounter that sort of thing. So, the chances of encountering it are pretty slim. But, I still would like to know what the answer is behind it, why they're here, what their purpose is on this earth, and what they intend to do with us, what their ultimate goal is with the human race and with Earth, because I think it's kind of like a Star Trek thing, really. I think they're kind of waiting for first contact. They're waiting for their opportunity to come in and come down and say, "Hey, how's it going? Like we want to meet you." And they have to wait until we have warp drive in order to do that. But that's just kind of my thought on the whole thing. There's a lot of science fiction that actually turns out in later years to be true after it's written. And I really think that Star Trek is one of those things. But I think there's probably aliens out there that are floating around and just kind of waiting for the opportunity to come in. But whatever their purpose is for us, it's not something I want to be involved in. But Bigfoot, yeah, I'll go down into your cave and hang out with you and eat some weird stuff for a little while and maybe some bugs and leaves and stuff and just kind of check out your culture and find out how you live. And I can put up with the stink, I really can, because I live with cats and they're pretty stinky right now, and like I think I could put up with that kind of thing. So just for the opportunity to be able to see how Bigfoot lives or to see how Dogman lives, if they don't eat me, like I'm good. Let's see how each other lives. I respect you, you respect me, kind of like all the other cultures in the earth on the world nowadays, you respect me, I respect you. Let's find out about each other. Let's learn about each other and learn about each other's differences and our similarities and and just kind of leave it at that. But it's not certainly something that you should be afraid of.
Now, I have to say, you said most people have never been abducted by aliens.
Right.
Perhaps most people don't remember being abducted by aliens.
Could be.
And I noticed Scott look up in terror, like as soon as you mentioned Star Trek, he looked up like Star Wars is the only sci-fi franchise that is worth mentioning.
So I don't know why you're talking about Star Trek. I saw that look on his face when you said that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Star Trek is amazing.
Going back to cryptids, though,
Yeah.
which one do you think would be the most dangerous to pursue?
I don't know. Dogman sounds pretty scary. There's been a couple of stories I've heard, and one in particular where this man had this vacation home kind of up in the mountains. He took his young daughter up there, and she was probably 3 or 4 years old. She was old enough to talk, but he put her to bed one night, and he started hearing some noises outside of his house. And he, realized that this was not just normal ambient noises of the night. And he got his gun and started listening really close. And then all of a sudden, he heard his daughter crying from one of the bedrooms, and he raced back there. And his daughter was crying. She was pointing at the window, and she said something about like this. He wanted me to come out and play. The dog wanted me to come out and play with him. And that kind of freaked me out. Like when I heard that, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that's not something you want to
Mm-hmm.
like this dogman creature that he had seen or heard around his house at one time was actually trying to lure his young daughter out into the yard to play with him.
That's some creepy stuff right
Now,
there.
what kind of purpose would it have behind that besides just to eat the child,
Yeah,
right?
that's like some Robin Hood stuff.
Yeah.
Not Robin Hood, Red Riding Hood.
Red Riding Hood.
I get my hoods mixed
Yes.
up.
And it makes but it makes you wonder, really, when you say that, it makes you wonder if there's not some, because there's so many legends out there, so many stories that are based in reality. And a lot of our Anglo Saxon culture, right? A lot of that kind of harkens back to the English and the British and some of the stories that were Hans Christian Andersen. He came with so many stories. And we're like, where'd these things come from? Well, they came from reality. He like any great writer, would find his inspiration rooted in reality, in the folklore and the culture of the society that he lived in. And it makes you wonder if this was a case with something like that with Red Riding Hood. Did the writer of this actually
The
have?
Brothers Grimm, they went out and
Yes.
collected these stories
Did
from
these
villages
people?
that,
Yeah. What's the purpose behind this? Why did they actually come up with the story? Is it because there was some wolf out there, some wolf creature, and that it would sort of try to lure children out into the night or out into the darkness and sort of, like, I'm gonna eat you kind of thing. It makes you wonder. It really does.
yeah.
And there's even the Pennsylvania Dutch that are right along kind of the southern central border of Pennsylvania that talk about this wolf man creature from way back hundreds of years ago when they first settled there. And they've had stories about that for centuries. And this is something they first encountered when they came to the US and started settling out there. And if that's the case, like these things have been around for a long time. And the werewolf is the same thing as the dogman. The dogman, same thing as the weird wolf. There's some reason why we continuously see these canine, hominid sort of hybrid creatures that are crawling around out there, maybe trying to eat children. So it's kind of a crazy idea, but that's a little bit creepy. I'm not sure I want to encounter a dog man, but at the same time I do,
Right.
because I want to see what it's all about. There's a lot of stories where the dog man has come up and sort of been there and been seen, but not exactly tried to approach anybody, almost like it was more curious, kind of like Bigfoot. And it makes you wonder, why is it there? Is this some sort of alien creature? Is it something, is it a demon? Is it something that is, brought on by some Indian curse? You never know, but certainly a question I'd like to answer.
Yeah, and back in the day when the Brothers Grimm or whoever it was wrote Little Red Riding Hood, I mean, it's a crazy thing to think of this dog man putting
Right,
on grandmother's clothes.
right.
But in this day and age, it's not quite as crazy. I mean, it's
No,
whatever Dogman identifies with. You know
it
what I mean?
is.
If he wants to be a grandma, we call him ma'am and let him dress like a grandma.
Exactly. If he wants to be, anything he wants, he can be called that. He can associate with his own pronoun, whatever pronoun he wants, he can associate with. But at the same time, he's more accepted now than he ever
Yeah,
has been in history. Dogman. Nobody ever thinks of the dogman as being a female.
no,
But if he wants to put on the old woman clothes and go about business, then
Some lipstick.
sure.
absolutely.
A
And
little bit
I
lipstick.
propose at this point in time, we should stop. We should ban the phrase dog man and start referring to this being as dog person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's only natural with the way things are going today.
Or dog them.
Dog them.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us for another edition of the VAPI Fireside Chats. Remember, if you have any questions that you'd like us to respond to, drop them down below. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Make sure you check out Expeditions to Lockham, because we're out here right now doing a little mini Bigfoot expedition, taking a tour of this beautiful park. So you're going to want to check that out on the Slockham
And we
channel.
want the interesting questions, too. We want to be able to answer questions that are some that we would not normally think of.
Some thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
And they can be anything. All right. Until next time, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
And I'm Scott.
And remember, there's much more to see in the dark.